Tim, don't worry about it.
I'm here.
It's all good. Don't worry about it. Nobody really cares about that guy. Don't worry about it. Oh my gosh.
I know you're kidding.
Surreal right now for me to have Mr. Smith in the podcast. It's crazy. Oh, so many questions. Let's just get the podcast started because there's so many. Oh, there you go. It just signified that we're online.
That's a good sign. That's a good sign.
Yeah. Whew, you ready, man?
I'm ready.
I'm excited, man. All right, let's.
That'll be your mic.
That's your mic. That's your headset right there. Let me know if the sound's too loud for you there.
All right.
Let me just let me see here. The mics are not hot right now. Hold on. Let me just get something going here.
Now, don't be nervous, Tim.
Yeah,
because we're
trained professionals.
I've never worked with a group like that before. I don't know how to do this.
All right, here we go. Let's start up the podcast here. I know. Push record. I know.
Let's see.
Done this before.
Yes.
No, he hasn't.
Ladies and gentlemen, friends of all ages, Roundtable Studios proudly brings to you your tag team podcast of the RGV. Q, are you ready? Moo, are you ready? It's time for the Two New Podcast. Let's get out!
Oh my goodness, and we are on today. Oh my gosh, guys, it's right now. I'm ecstatic right now. It's crazy. I'm excited. I'm like a little kid in Disney World right now because interviewing somebody very, very, very. How can I put it?
You're hopped up on sugar, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I'm hopped up on a lot of him. No, I'm just joking.
You guys need some more energy.
Oh, let me introduce him the correct way. Let me introduce the gentleman we have with us the correct way for all you podcasters and all about Facebook. So I'm gonna turn on the mics and just gonna hear my voice. Here we go, man. You ready? Ladies and gentlemen, today on the Chew podcast. The man who's been with KRGV for the past 30 years. One of those I lost count. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, he is the icon of the valley. He's been in your household for so many years. He's the reason why your mom told you to put that jacket on because it was going to be cold. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tim Smith.
Yeah.
This guy better be good. That's all I got to say. Live up to that.
Woo! Oh my goodness, man!
Tim, I wanted you to know that I wanted your intro to be "It's Raining Men." I was shouted down.
I shot it down quick, Tim.
I felt like we're at the Chicago Bulls game. That's what it felt like.
Yeah, it did kind of feel like that.
Michael Jordan was going to show up.
You are the Michael Jordan of the Valley, my friend.
That's what we were going for.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody who's watching and listening, guys. Thanks for tuning in. This is the podcast. Good night. No, I'm just joking. Shout out to Petey Wheaties. That's what I'm drinking tonight. And I got Liquid Death for Mr. Smith and also Liquid Death for Chew tonight. So they'll be enjoying that water today, just to give you a heads up. Tim, where can we start? How can we start this podcast, man? This is crazy. Oh, my goodness.
How about we ask Tim to go ahead and introduce himself to all the youngins that might be listening who
they don't have television.
Or just tune out whenever the news comes on.
Who would do that? Who would do that? But it happens.
I'm showing out myself right now.
As soon as you hear the voice, boom.
Yeah, exactly. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Tim.
Well, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for dropping the mystery because I don't know who that is. I appreciate that very much. It's a pleasure to be here. I love what you guys are doing. This is really cool stuff.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate the invitation to be part of it. I've been, in the intro, you said 30, 40 years. It's been 40 years and 7 weeks.
There you go.
So
there you go.
But who's counting, right?
Yeah, right, exactly.
It's only a decade.
It's only a decade. Am I bad? I wasn't very good at math.
I moved down here Christmas Eve of 1981.
There you go.
I got here Christmas Eve, and it was about like it is outside today. It was 50-something, and it was raining and drizzly, and I wanted to get in the pool because I just a couple days later had left Indiana where it was 20 degrees and 2 feet of snow on the ground.
There you go.
And I said, this is heaven. I've made it. And I want to get in the pool. And everybody thought I was crazy.
Yeah.
I'm unloading my car in my shorts and T-shirt. And everybody else got their winter coats on. It's like, come on. And now, you see, I showed up tonight with the heaviest coat I own. It's like 50, man. It's cold out there. Who would want to get in a pool now?
We're dying out here.
Yeah, this is insane.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, man.
It's crazy because I came down. I was a little kid when I came down in '83.
Okay.
And
so was I, by the way.
Oh yeah, you were.
I was 6. Yeah.
You looked at. I remember actually watching the news because like we just tuned into Channel 5 and it was just like instantly like.
Yeah,
I like this. This is the family channel where we're going to be watching.
Yeah, exactly.
There was Tim talking about the weather.
Yeah.
Had more hair then.
Yeah, man.
Oh,
hey, speaking of hair, that's one thing. I went researching a little bit, Tim.
This could be bad.
I went
this is an audio podcast. No picture.
No, watch it. That's it. I'm out. I'm leaving.
You
see what back on. See, you got me sure.
You see what you did.
I bring the best out of people, man.
Yeah. I was going to block the camera.
What was that nice, beautiful? I like to call it the Bob Ross fro.
Yeah,
nice fro, man.
That was when I was in high school. I used to try to comb my hair down, and it didn't work. Naturally curly. Finally, my sister said, "Why don't you just pick it out?"
There you go.
And I picked it out, and it's been that way up until. I mean, it's still that way now. It's not straight out. It's changed colors a little bit, and it's a whole lot shorter. When I started in '81, I was a weekend weather guy.
Yeah.
Lee Lindsay was the main weather guy.
Okay.
And so I still had quite a bit of hair when I started.
Yeah.
And I think it was March of '83, a little over a year into the job, they told me that Lee was retiring and that they were going to give me the weekday spot.
There you go.
And so they said, but the first thing we're going to do is we're going to send you for some coaching to our consultants in Iowa.
Right.
So I got on a plane, flew to Iowa, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and went to Frank Magan and Associates. The big. They're big. They're one of the biggest. And, and went spent the morning doing coaching and. Go talk faster, talk slower, the whole thing, go through it. Then it was lunchtime. They all jumped in the car and we pulled up in front of this place that had a Coca-Cola sign in front of it. And they said, we're going to, have a nice lunch at a deli or something.
Right.
They walked me in. It was not a deli. It was a hair salon. and they said, fix him. And they left.
Oh, shit.
And they said, we'll be back in an hour and a half. And they came back in an hour and a half, and I didn't have any hair anymore. And
wow.
So when I got off the airplane, when I got back home, my wife did not recognize me. I walked right past her because my hair went from really pretty long to really pretty short. And it's never gone back to as short as it was then. That was a buzz cut. But,
goodness.
And every once in a while, it gets kind of long again. Not like it was back then.
Well, one of the questions we had, I had one of our podcasters from another podcast, from the E-Hawk podcast, Fred Barrera. He goes, "You got to ask this question, man. Ask Tim this question and tell him to be honest about it. Does he know any good Weatherman jokes?" That's the one he wanted me to ask.
Yeah, that's a great question. I hear them all the time, every day, but I always forget them. I'm never good at them because I don't want to remember.
They're so great.
Yeah, they're so great. I just erase. The thing I hear is, every day is not every day, but a lot is must be great to be wrong and still get paid.
Oh my God!
That one we hear weekly probably.
I hear you.
But the question I probably hear, just a question. It's not a joke, but it's a question.
Mm-hmm.
Every day, probably depends on where I go and what I'm out, but an average day, probably 15 times a day, is simply, "Hey, how's the weather?" And the guy could be mowing his yard. My buddy, hey, he'll stop me. "How's the weather?" So, "Well, you're mowing the ground. What do you're outside." I think you know the answer to that. You don't need a scientist. Yeah, you don't need a scientist to tell you that. You're right. If you're out in it, and so it's good. But that 10 or 15 times a day.
Really?
It could be in the grocery aisle. It could be, walking down the street, walking the dog, anywhere, the car wash. "Hey, I guess it's going to be okay since you're here, huh?" So
and about a couple of weeks ago, I did an interview with. I was on a podcast with the 9.56 Boys podcast, also another great podcast, and I had mentioned your name that you were going to come on the podcast, and he goes, "I remember meeting Tim for once." This was Andy Purple Villain. He goes, "I remember meeting Tim Smith once, man. I worked at Wendy's, and he pulled up, and sure enough, I gave him. I saw who it was. Like, yeah. I just gave Tim Smith his food." And he goes, "You know what? Hey, man." And it's true what they say. Any little experience, so many years on our home TV, like I said, and at my house, it's always been a battle. When you came aboard and you took the lead, it was a battle from between my mom and my dad. One was a Channel 4 guy, one was a Channel 5 guy, and my mom was the big Channel 5 person.
I like your mom.
So, and she told my dad, no, that's it. We're done. We're not watching Channel 4. We're watching just Channel 5 now because Tim has been so far right with all the weather that's been coming in. So you've been on our household for the past, like I said, a good. I'm 46 already. Yeah, a good 30, 40 some years already.
Wow,
Pretty
that's
much
cool.
your entire life.
Yeah, my entire life.
That's a long time. That's a long time.
But it's good, man.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah, no, I mean, sometimes Channel 5 likes to toot its own horn, and it's
Well, they do. We do. They do. Yeah.
But yeah, you are one of the longest running weathermen in the valley.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why. I mean, people just connect with you.
Yeah.
People love you.
Well, I appreciate
People
that.
like you.
It's just a great place to be, and I've always believed wherever you go, there you are. You have to, you immerse yourself and enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
And from the day I got here, I wanted to jump in the pool and it was 50 degrees. But I learned that that's not the thing to do. I said, well, let me do what you should do. And really, just fell in love with the valley, the people, the culture, the weather, everything.
Right.
And no real desire to go anywhere else because it's so much fun here.
What did you think when they said, you're going to the south tip of Texas?
Well, I was going West Laco. How do you pronounce that? And really what it was a friend of mine from college that I graduated with had been down here to do an internship with Texas Rural Legal Aid, which is right down in downtown West Laco.
Right.
And she had done this internship. And at the end of the internship was May of our senior year. She came back up to graduate.
Right.
And she said, hey, I just got a job at a TV station, KRGV.
There you go.
She said, I guess she said West Laco, in the valley, she said.
Yeah.
And you should come too. Well, I wasn't, I'm just graduating. And I had a job in radio. And I said, well, I'm going to stick to my job in radio.
Yeah.
And after about 6 months of making $8,000 a year, there was just what radio still pays, But
that's what I took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah. I finally said, I'm not talking to you. I'm sorry, I should talk to you guys too. Every once in a while, I should look over here. I said, TV is a good idea. And Jenny, this friend of mine, called and said, hey, there's an opening for a weekend weathercaster.
Right.
I said, well, my degree's in journalism. I'm a journalist.
Right.
But she said, well, you can be a journalist during the week and do weather on the weekends.
Right.
And I said, where are you again? She goes, oh, it's a great place. You come down. They've got this island. You go to the island and you camp. You can do whatever you want on the island. And so that got me. And then she sent me a picture of palm trees. And I'm in Indiana in December. It's like, this looks pretty good. And so I had no idea where I was going. My brother lived in Dallas at the time. So I talked to Rick Diaz over the phone. He was a news director. And he was kind enough over the phone to give me the job. And so I packed everything I had, my Chevy Chevette, and followed my brother. He came up to Indiana and we on a little before Christmas.
Right.
Followed him to Dallas. And then he said, okay, keep going. You're on your own. And so I drove. And back at that time, it took about 11 hours to get from Dallas because 281 was a 2-lane road, and so it was 55. And I'm driving into the dark on Christmas Eve. And after I left Falfurrias, I thought, well, I'll stop somewhere. After Falfurrias, So my next stop was at the TG&Y in Far.
Okay. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Yes, I do.
To call Jenny and say, I'm here. Where do I go?
Right.
And so she gave me directions to the apartment in North McAllen, and I lived there for a month and then moved out.
Right.
And I thought, where in the world am I? But I was.
And where's this beach you were talking about?
So about like a month later, we drive out there, and first time to the beach, and I was expecting to have to row a boat over to this little deserted desert island.
Right.
I saw the bridge. It's like, oh, well, this is like a real place,
Yeah,
I'd never heard of it, and got there, and now I have a place there. I love it there. We live there half the time, and just love it.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I couldn't be any happier with where we've ended up.
Do we got anything on the questions there? Anybody asking? Popping up?
No questions.
This is not beer.
Sure, it's not. It's
not beer. Wink. No, I'm just telling you, it's water.
We got Freddie Hondo Ramirez saying, "Tell him I'll do him a free tattoo."
I would consider that, but my wife wouldn't. Say, you get the tattoo, then see ya. She's not really into them.
A lightning bolt or something.
Yeah, a tornado or something. But thank you for the offer.
It's an automatic no there, buddy.
I want to stay married.
And Kurt Reynolds, longtime watcher of the show. Chicago Heights checking in.
Chicago Heights, wow.
21 degrees here.
Oh, yeah, here you go.
You can keep it there, Kurt.
You can keep it there. And the weather today just, I'm at work, and it's such a beautiful day all day.
Oh,
And then
it was beautiful this morning.
all of a sudden at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, I'm working in McAllen, and the weather just jumps. It's like, well, what's good? That's when my notifications go off on KRGV, and I'm like, there is a cold front coming in. They go, where did this come from?
It's literally the definition of weather in Texas. Like, woke up last night, it was in the 70s all night, and then this morning it was like in the 80s. It was nice. It was like, it's spring is here. Yay.
So and
now it's 43.
And now it's 43, raining.
Yeah.
You know, people are cowering in doorways, you know.
So those fans that are listening out of the state of Texas, if you want to witness the 4 seasons, come to the RGV, because we have winter in the morning, fall and spring at noon, and summer in the evening. Yeah. So you can enjoy all 4 in one day.
Well, to be completely transparent, it's really just 2 flavors of weather.
Cold and hot.
Not much in between. You're right.
Cold. You're not going to come down here and see the leaves change.
But you talk about this front. You know, it was well forecast, kind of, because some days it's hard to do a forecast. Some days it's easy.
Exactly.
And today's forecast is one of the hardest ones we've done in a while, because we use all these computer models. You know, we've got the European model and the GFS. That's the American model.
Right.
Those are long range, big grid. You know, they're not real fine resolution. They're real broad resolution.
Right.
And they were forecasting the front for either tomorrow afternoon or Friday afternoon.
Really?
Okay. The short range models, which are much more high resolution, much better, had the front coming in this evening or tomorrow morning.
Oh, okay.
And then yesterday, one of these real fine mesh models said, no, it's going to get here about 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So we went with it. And I'll credit Alan Shoemaker, Meteorologist Alan Shoemaker, for really being the one who was bold on this and saying we need to go this way. Because we're kind of hesitant. You don't want to go too far, but he's like, let's do it. So we went with it.
Yeah.
And it was his doing. But we went with the front coming in late this afternoon.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody else in town was going for the front coming in Friday. With highs tomorrow in the 80s.
Right.
And it's going to be in the 40s most of the day tomorrow.
Jesus.
And it was a very difficult forecast, but the reasoning behind it made sense. So we had to think through it. I'm sorry. I keep
It's okay. It's okay.
You can see the back of my head, which it is nice. There's not a bald spot.
It's immaculate.
But it's perfect. Joaquin, my hairdresser, would be proud. But this one model that was the earliest was right.
Right.
And so if you watched 3 different channels yesterday, you saw that tomorrow's going to be 80, 83, or 56. And fortunately, we're not always the ones that have it right. We usually are, but not always. Yeah. But this was it was a really hard forecast.
Yeah,
really hard.
And a lot of people don't understand that most of these weather reports are. I mean, and I know it's difficult because the weather changes in a drop of a dime, real quick. And how many people understand? Oh well, you said it was going to rain today, and I was like, okay, I'm staying in, and it's been sunny all day. What the heck, Tim? What the heck? And it's just unpredictable.
Yeah, it is, because I remember like 2 years in a row, I think it was 2018, 2019, like at least to me, like these southern storms came from out of Mexico and caused a lot of flooding. And I was watching the news, and they were saying that it's going to be sunny, and it's going to be humid, possible chance of showers.
Right.
Nowhere in there says like run for your life. There's a flood.
It'll be awful.
Yeah, it's going to be just terrible. Kiss your grandma goodbye. It's that kind of thing, because it seemed like it just came out of nowhere, and that's another thing. It's like I really can't stand people that just get upset because
I got you.
April 17th, 1993, you told me, to wear a rain jacket.
Well, one of the issues we have here too is that, we say there's a 50% chance, or whatever number we give.
Right.
And it doesn't rain where you are. Like, well, that was obviously wrong. but you're in McAllen.
Right.
But it's pouring in Brownsville.
Right.
So
exactly.
Brownsville saying you should have said 100%. McAllen's saying you should have said 0. And we had 50. I was like, well, it rained in half the valley, trying to justify it. But because the valley is a big area, if we put a pop, we call it a probability of precipitation, we put a pop out there, it's for the whole valley. And so on a day like that, there are days when we say there's 100% chance of rain,
right?
But only a 20% chance it's going to happen where you are,
right?
So we have to put a 20% on there.
I got you. Yeah,
you can't put 100 because most people are not going to get rained on, but somebody will.
That's why it'll say it's 85 in Weslaco, but it's 87 in in Harlingen or something.
Right.
You know, they're not.
Yeah.
You're not going to drive to Harlingen. And, you know what? It does feel. It does
You're
feel
right.
2
Yeah,
degrees
right,
warmer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now today you could have done that because it was 48 in Edinburgh and 80 in Brownsville at one point.
Wow.
Today you
There you
could have done today, but that's a rare day.
That's a rare
That's
day.
not the norm. Yeah.
Brownsville.
Well, it's a good drive.
Yeah,
It's a good
yeah,
drive.
Hey, it's Elon's home. Come on.
Yeah, you can keep it.
and through the years working through the weathercasting and everything, I mean, have you noticed a big difference of the weather change now? How they've changed from how usually December is sometimes back in the late 90s, early 90s, it was cold, and now we're moving to the 2000s. Is like December is like warm or cool, and then we get all the cold fronts coming in February and March.
There's been, and 40 years is not a long time in the overall weather scheme. It's
Right.
really not. But in the 80s we had 2 freezes around Christmas. December 83 and 89 we had big freezes. We got
Mhm.
really cold. And of course, last year we had freeze in February,
Right.
like you're talking about. This year we're having some really chilly weather in February.
Yeah.
It's I don't know that there's an overall a big term trend. I
Mhm.
think it's just the way the pattern sets up for a few years in a row dictates that. And
Right.
like right now, the pattern the last few years in the winter has dictated that we get some really chilly stuff in February. And last February, of course, being the coldest.
Yes.
But you go back to the 1800s and it snowed in Brownsville on Valentine's Day. I
Wow.
don't know what the date was.
See, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it was either 1895 or 1899.
Wow.
But the other year, Brownsville's coldest temperature on record was in the 1890s in February.
Yeah.
So it kind of goes back and forth, and I think it just depends on a pattern.
Yeah.
Overall, is it getting warmer? That's a deep question that I'm not going to ask myself. If you want to ask it, you can. But
Yeah, I got you. No, I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah,
I hear you.
that's
We'll
hard
let
to-
everyone answer for themselves.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
getting warmer. I'm not getting older.
Yeah.
It's getting warmer.
Sure.
I hear you. Yeah, man. And it's funny, like I said, how the weather changes have changed through the years. But one particular thing is that the hurricane watches. I've seen you out and about back in the day, out and about out there when the storm is going crazy.
Stay inside.
Yeah.
Stay inside, Tim. What are you doing?
Yeah, my
Stand
insurance
next to
company
a
wants me to
window.
stay inside.
Stand next
I mean,
to the window and like, point. Look.
Right.
Right, just point. You see? You see?
Right.
I told you. I told you.
Yeah, I told you about that.
Our building was built in the 60s, and that studio is a big, broad building. And,
Right,
and,
right.
and so when a hurricane's coming through, the roof is kind of going up and down, and the lights start swaying. It's like, I don't know that in the building, in that building,
Mhm.
is the best place to be.
That's why they go out.
Knock on wood, nothing has fallen.
Right.
But we got generators, so power goes out. We're on
Right,
backup,
right.
so we shouldn't ever go dark ever during a storm.
Right.
And thankfully you haven't.
Yeah.
You've for as long as people have power in their homes or watching
Right.
the news and you guys are there, the whole team is there.
No shit.
Right.
I'm just like, if I'm Alan Shoemaker and I'm the star of the show, like, no way, I'm not going out there. It's wet.
You go out. Send the new guy.
Yeah,
Send the new guy out there.
And it's what meteorologists want to be out there, because that's what they went to school for. And during whether it's Hurricane Dolly or Hurricane Gilbert or whatever hurricane,
Right.
if storms are hitting us directly, I'm usually in the building. If it's somewhere nearby but not direct, then I can get out to it.
Right.
But we always say, this is what I went to school for. During the middle of the storm, like Dolly, for example, we've been on the air for 36 hours or something.
Mhm.
No sleep, no nothing. And they said, you should go take a nap. I said, this is what I've studied my whole life for.
Right.
Why would I want to sleep through it?
Is the excitement. This is
yeah.
what you were
Now-
waiting for.
Now I'll be pretty dead at the end of it, but let me keep going. At one point, they're like, "No, you're already dead. You're so punchy, so slap happy that you're not making any sense. You need to go take a nap." And so,
Tell them it's going to snow. I don't know, man.
Just keep it going. This is great. So yeah, they force us to take naps, but because we don't want to, and then the reporters are out. A lot of reporters are out. The last storm I went to actually covered was Harvey in Houston in 2017, and that was and I think I'm done. I don't want to do that anymore because the devastation was so significant.
Yeah,
and you see the misery that people are going through.
Yes.
It's like, I've seen enough of this.
Yes.
Yeah, because then it's not really the weather anymore. It's an event and
Exactly.
people are hurt.
Yeah,
no,
so that changes everything, and
Absolutely.
and that one, I was doing a live shot at noon. I don't know what day of the week it was, but my daughter lives in Houston, still lives in Houston, and she called me. My phone rings during the live shot, so I call her back right after, and she says, "Hey, can you pick us up?" It's like, "Well, I'm working, it's noon. I just did a live shot. I've got another live shot to do." I said, "What do you mean pick you up?" She goes, "We're evacuating. We're getting on an airboat
Oh,
because they had
goodness.
7 feet of water in their house."
Oh.
and they said, we're getting on an airboat, and they're going to take us to this address. Can you pick us up? It's like, well, yeah. So
no
I
kidding.
unplugged everything and told the station, I'm out
I
for
gotta
a
go.
while. I'll let you know when I'm back.
Right.
And went and picked, sure enough, here they came with a 1-month-old baby and a dog and the mother-in-law, and pulled up on an airboat, and I'm wearing hip waders and walked in the water deep enough to get water inside the hip waders,
Oh, my
which meant I
goodness.
was in water probably up to my chest. Because I walked, I was like, why are my feet so heavy? And the photographer says, because you're in water
You're already
way above the hip waders,
Right.
And so it was just full all the way up. So, yeah.
That's crazy, man.
So that it was personal at that point. So we got them to a safe place. The hotel we were staying at had more rooms, got them there.
Good.
And then went back to work.
Right,
by 6 o'clock, we were back on the air again.
Yeah, no
But,
kidding.
so I said, I don't know if I want to go anymore. I've done this.
Yeah. So, I mean, so far, watching you on the air, man, the newscast, your cast itself, I still remember to this day, the only time I would really tune in the most is when Rick Diaz, Leti Valadez, Dave Brown, and yourself, those guys, I mean, anytime I heard those names, this is going to be a good newscast. I got to watch this. Got to watch it. Got to see what Rick's going to say. Got to see what Leti's going to say. Got to see what Tim's going to say about the weekend, because the weekend's coming up. And then I got to see Dave Brown. I got to see Dave Brown. He's talking about my team.
What kind of weather should we plan for during the football game?
Exactly. Yeah, man. But yeah, that was the cast setup. I mean, working with those guys on that, was it a treat? Was it fun?
Oh, they were all such a joy to work with. Go back. Rick Diaz is the guy that hired me in 1981, and just a true gentleman. Just somebody said one time, if Rick has a fault, he's too nice. And because he really is. He was a great boss and great to work with, and still a good friend and a great mentor. And really took his time with a lot of young kids. They gave people a chance.
Right.
A lot of us came in had no experience in television. I didn't have any experience. A lot of the reporters he hired had no experience. They're right out of college. And he gave him a chance. He gave him a chance. And that's what was really special about him. He saw something in people. It's like, yeah, you could do this. You could do this. Yeah. And there were people he didn't give a chance to, but they probably didn't need it. They needed to go a different direction.
Right.
But he gave hundreds and hundreds of people a chance in their career. And I was one of them, and forever indebted to him. Just a terrific guy and fun to sit on the set with. Yeah. Very funny and just entertaining. Dave Brown is Dave Brown. Oh my gosh. There is no other Dave Brown in the world.
Oh, no, there isn't.
And again, love him dearly. He's still a good friend. He's retired, living in Brownsville, and I talk to him through text or whatever occasionally. And he's just funny and he's one of those guys that until you crack the nut, it's a tough nut. But once you get inside, there's nobody warmer and more loving and more caring than Dave.
Awesome.
Once you get through, he's wonderful. He's kind of hard to get through.
Yeah.
But once you do, you're there for life, and that's cool. And Letty was just. My gosh, she came up. She was an intern when I started doing weekend weather, so she started right after I did, and so we kind of grew up together. And she was just fun, just loud and fun and full of personality and always smiling. She'd walk in the room, and the first thing she'd do is compliment something about you. So I love that hat. Where'd you get that? Always disarming, made you just, made people fall in love with her, and was just a terrific person to work with as well. Yeah. So what a blessing, they were. And Rick was there when I started. Dave was there when I started. Letty was there right after I started.
Right.
So now they're all retired. What am I doing here? It's like
I should go back to radio.
Exactly.
I should make my own a weather podcast.
There you're talking.
You make just as much money. It's funny that you say that, because I really think that translated well, how well you all work together, because it's like I said,
a good solid team.
Yeah, we came from Illinois, and we moved down here, and we just started watching the news, and we skipped around between all three channels, and we found KRGV Channel 5, and we just liked them, and like, all right, this is the channel that we're going to be watching from now.
It was the lock on program in the morning, at noon, and in the evening.
There you go.
So that's the way it was, man. And like I said, at the household, it was always a battle between both channels. It was always a battle.
I love it.
And my dad would run over to the room and turn on Channel 4. He'd stay over there, and then I had my mom go, "Man, hurry! Tim Smith's on to see what's gonna happen tomorrow." And I'm like, ya estoy acá mirando acá, Larry. I go, no, vete para acá. That's all you heard back and forth. I'm like, where do I go? Who loves me more? Who loves me more?
Larry James.
Larry. Oh, Larry, what a good guy. What a good guy. Yeah, I miss him. He retired, and he's still around, still hanging out, doing what he does.
Oh yeah, Larry James isn't going. Right?
Yeah, Larry James. That name's not going to go anywhere. Just like Tim Smith, that name's not going anywhere anytime soon, man.
quick question.
Yeah.
Have you heard from Peter Torgerson at all?
Yeah, Peter's a great guy, and he was another one of those guys that was there when I got
Mhm.
here. And of course, he had the misfortune of winning the lottery.
Yeah.
Then
that's
he had
why I
to,
asked.
then he had to leave Channel 5. And poor guy had to retire early.
He's in the Bahamas, relaxing in his own
Yeah,
boat.
Retired in his 30s.
No, he's still right. He's still at Harlingen. Still been retired ever since. He won it was a Saturday night drawing,
Mhm.
and he came to work on Monday late, and then Tuesday he worked, Wednesday worked, Thursday. The boss at the time was a guy named Tony Lasakis, and Tony called me, and at that time we were doing the 5 o'clock newscast on the road, somewhere
Okay.
different every day.
Right.
And there'd always be two people,
Mhm.
and I'd go sometimes, and came in, and the boss says, "You're going today to be live with Peter." I said, "Great, where are we going?" So we're going to be in Laguna Atascosa National Wildlife Refuge.
Oh, okay.
Terrific. He said, "You're going to meet Peter out there." Great, sounds good. I'll meet him out there. He says, "Close the door." Okay, close the door. He says, when you're done with the live shot, you need to interview Peter. What do you mean interview Peter? So you just have one question to ask him. I said, okay. He says, door closed? Yeah, door's closed. He says, what's it like to win $37 million? Oh, man. And he'd been on the set all week, and Carrie was the other anchor. Carrie Zayas was the other anchor.
Right.
And we're doing the story that the winning lottery ticket was sold in Harlingen. The winner's not come forward. Peter
Oh, my goodness.
Peter never had to read it. But Carrie's right next to him reading it, and Peter's, head down, and not saying anything.
Sweating bullets over.
Yes.
Oh, don't say nothing.
Because his wife is holding the ticket at home, actually, it was a safety deposit box. So I asked him the question, and he said, now, you can't tell anybody because there's a lot of people coming forward saying they had the ticket,
Exactly.
and they don't know what happened. They lost it. It's theirs. So we couldn't say anything. So I asked him the question, and then he jumped in his Mustang convertible that he had for years, drove to Austin right after we finished the interview. Friday morning, claimed the prize, and they ran the interview Friday at noon.
Oh my goodness! Yeah,
and we haven't seen him since. No, he's around, and he's still at Harlingen. We get together once in a while for lunch or something. And
that's awesome.
That's
awesome. That's
yeah.
good. That's good.
Yeah, he always buys.
There you go. I think he should.
Yeah, it's fair,
No, don't be like that.
No.
Just because he's a millionaire.
Keep him coming.
Yeah.
Keep him coming.
So, but he's one of the smartest people I've ever met. Mind like a steel trap. Just remembers everything.
Right.
And that's what made him a good newscaster, because
That's
he
awesome.
knew everything and remembered everything. And he was like an encyclopedia. Before the internet, he was like an encyclopedia. He'd read.
He
all
was
time.
the web, pretty much.
He was. Yeah, go to Pete. Go call Pete. What's up? And he had stacks of newspapers at home, and he knew where everything was.
Wow.
He was just a really smart guy.
Wow.
Still is.
He's another example of what I was saying earlier. Like you could tell, that everyone was getting along there on the set.
Yeah, exactly.
He had known the entire week. Like I don't have to be here.
What am I doing here? Don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
What am I doing in this building that sways with the wind?
Here's all you're thinking. I can own this building if I really wanted to.
Right. Yep.
And on that note, guys, we're going to take a quick pause and say thank you to our sponsors for sponsoring today's spell. So hang in there, guys. Don't go anywhere. And let's listen to some sponsor music here. You can shut down. Right. We are still live on Instagram and on Facebook.
Oh, there. Okay.
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
That's fun.
It's
fun.
crazy. Yeah.
Fred Barreto would like to know: does he have a favorite barbecue spot in the Masters?
Oh, that's a hard one. There's so many new ones coming.
That's a loaded question, there, Fred.
Yeah. Does he own one?
Oh my gosh, is that Fred Barreto from Yeehaw? His briskets to die for, Chad.
Really?
If he ever calls you up and wants you to be on his podcast, tell him just pay me in brisket and I'm there.
We're good to go.
Yeah, I mean, killer. I left you some pork chops and brisket. Oh
That's
my
cool.
goodness, amazing! If you go to one of our podcasts and listen to it or watch the video on Facebook Live, great barbecue. I mean, I'm not lying, man. It's
cool.
great. But yeah, man.
Yeah, but he's not a professional with a
He's
with a
just
shop.
Yeah.
No, he works out of a food truck.
Really?
Food truck, and they're all over the place. And
That's cool.
I think he says
food trucks are the new.
They're the thing.
Go-to spot. Yeah.
Oh, let me get myself a water. I'm already about my drink. Did you want another one too?
I'm good. I'm still up here. I don't know about you.
No, I'm good.
Oh yeah, you want?
You think you're so clever. Hey, clever guy, you haven't mentioned Weedy Weedies at all.
I did. I said the first thing that started up.
What?
Yeah, I did.
No.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
This is the gift I gave you.
Oh, yeah.
So that's for you. These are all craft beers.
These are all
And you know me.
Yo.
You know me.
No, he knows you. Miguel from the craft here in Westlaco.
Oh, yeah.
He says whenever you want, come on by and he will show you the
Is that the
world.
place that's.
Right here in Westlaco.
Yeah.
Yeah, hit by, talk to Miguel Gallegos. He's one of our sponsors.
Okay.
And great guy, man. Great
cool.
atmosphere.
So, yeah, tell me about the place.
No, man, you need to go. I mean, as far as food trucks galore, sometimes they have like a flea market and they have people that have vendors out there.
Okay.
Crazy performances, awesome. That's the reason why we started the podcast, to help a lot of the artists that are here in the valley to get bigger, and give them kind of a little bit of a push. And since we've been starting the podcast, it's slowly getting
Nice.
bigger, little by little, and we're trying our best to get as many people that walk. We've been blessed, man. So we opened up. Our first interview was pop culture, and I know, and that's one thing I'm going to bring up in the second half of the podcast. I know he did a portrait of you.
He did.
Yeah,
He did.
which was
Back in
very,
my
very
house,
good. Yeah. So, but
That
yeah,
was really cool. Really cool.
and I recommend the eatery, man. If you have a chance,
A lot of our people go over there for dinner in the evenings,
Yeah.
So I'm dressed. I got to get rid of my tie, and
yeah, it's a great environment.
No,
Man.
it
Great
really is. It's a family environment. Even during lockdown, like they would have events there.
Yeah.
Since it was open, everyone felt free to just like take their family and everything. It really helped a lot of people out.
Yeah.
Get out of their insanity, just being locked up in the home.
Understood.
Yeah, man. So I mean, like I
It's cool.
said,
Westlake goes doing that.
Yeah.
You know Steve Valdez that has the place up the street. He runs the EDC, the Westlake EDC, but he's got the little Mercado.
oh yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
he's
yes.
got a little bar in the back.
Mm.
He's a good
Yes.
friend, Steve. I
Oh,
know.
here that's the La Campana.
Yeah,
La
yes.
Campana, yes.
Yeah, I haven't been in there yet.
Oh my gosh, Jim.
I need to go
It's
sometime.
I say it's a small little area, but the atmosphere is wonderful, man. Great people, wine like crazy, beer, craft beer like galore, and what you like. I know they told me you guys you were a big craft
I love craft
beer.
beer. Yeah. What they produce?
So,
903.
well,
I love
you'll investigate it right now, all right?
Right.
And we also got you an official Chewy New T-shirt
nice. I
just
love
for
it.
you,
I love
so
it.
you can wear that whenever you want.
Thank you. I love it. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we got
Very cool. How long have you guys been doing this?
for about a year and a half.
Really?
Year and a half. Yeah. Coming up in August, September, somewhere around there. It'll be our second year.
Yes, yes.
Do you do it every day, once a week?
Once a week on Wednesdays.
That's enough.
Yeah.
Once a week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, we don't want to flood ourselves too much.
Right. Well, that's work. It
Yeah.
is work.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, but like you said, we've been really blessed because we've had a lot of talent. Because Mark's the one with the connection to other artists, so like he's heard a lot of the musicians that have come in or worked in some way with them, and it's really helped solidify our footing and also get out what we're saying.
I love it.
Yeah.
And we're back, man, with Tim Smith in the podcast. Oh my God, it's like a dream come true. A dream come true.
Higher. Dream
Oh
higher.
no, that's as far as my dream goes, Tim.
I would say I'm living the dream.
Yeah,
I'm not his dream, but I'm living the dream.
Yeah, man. But like I said, what?
You know what? I'll save it for after the show.
Oh, shut up! Oh my God!
Dream higher because apparently BTS tickets are on sale.
Oh my God! Let's not even go there. Let's get this out of conversation.
Apparently BTS is going to Las Vegas.
Oh my gosh! Here we
and
go,
tickets are going on sale.
babe. If you're listening, I had nothing to do with this. Oh my God!
You see what happens
Oh
when you
my
think of one.
gosh! I forgot. I know, my bad. Okay. And we were talking to Tim just a few minutes ago. I mean, we've heard from a little bird out and about that Tim is a big craft beer guy.
I do like it.
Yes,
Beer from time to time,
from the craft from Miguel Gallegos from the eatery sent you a little hors d'oeuvre here, a little 4-pack.
Let's take a look.
Just for them to take a look at that. See, we got some good stuff on there. It was funny because I went to go pick that up and he was explaining to me, this is this. I'm like, bro, I'm not the one who's going to drink it.
I am.
I go, if he has any questions, Mike, I'll let him know to give you a call personally. I will give him your cell number so you can walk him through each beer. That's before it. That's if they end up staying overnight in the fridge. But yeah, he sent that over just for you. Selected, and hope you enjoy it.
I will. I will not enjoy them tonight. I will wait. Well, okay, maybe tonight. So there's an IPA. There's a Java the Hutt Stout. That sounds good. 903. I've got a lot of stuff from 903. They're really good. Let's see. Austin Beer Works is good. That's a black rice lager. I've never had one of those before.
There you go.
And then a Berliner Weiss style ale with strawberry, blueberry, blackberry. Right, it's a fruit salad. And lactose. There you go.
There you go.
I love it.
There you go. Yeah, man. Shout out to Mikey, man.
Mike.
Shout out to Mikey. Thank you very much, man. Tim Smith really appreciates that.
Are we doing this again next week? I'll be here.
I'll be here again next week, as long as you keep on bringing the craft beer.
I'm ready.
We'll meet you at the eatery.
Yeah, we'll meet you at the eatery. Yeah,
that sounds good.
Make sure we're out there for you, man. But anyway, what we're talking about right now before the commercial break, we're talking about something right now that I completely forgot because now I'm talking about craft beer in front of Mike. So, any questions up there that are up and running? I know there was one from Fred, right? Oh, barbecue place, right?
Oh, what's your favorite barbecue place?
Favorite barbecue place.
Oh my gosh, there's so many. They're so good.
Sparking controversy.
Fred's house, that's the best. His house.
His house.
Yeah, his house. No, there's so many good places. There's a new. It's new to me in Edinburgh 492, which is really good. Mm-hmm. They're from north of Mission out on FM 492, but they opened a new one in Edinburgh, and man. Good stuff. I go back to the old days of Willie B's, Willie B's has been around forever. And I feel like they pioneered the stuffed potato,
Good old stuffed potato,
I feel like that's the first place it ever had. It probably wasn't, but to me it was.
The first thing I say when I walk in, let me have the heart attack with some barbecue sauce on top.
That's it. So good.
Yes, it is.
There's a couple of good places in Harlingen that I like a lot. One, what's the name of it? It's on the road coming back out from downtown. It's on the right. It's in the old bread factory.
Oh my goodness!
I can't remember the name of it now, but oh my gosh, it's good. And then of course the old Longhorn Cattle Company out on the edge of San Benito is good. Right. So there's so many good ones, and there's I can't get to all of them.
Like I was telling you in the commercial break, if you go with Fred Barrera, the Yeehaw podcast, that guy's brisket, his pork ribs were amazing, man. When I got them, bro, I just opened up that case. I swear to God, I was just like, Jesus Christ. Oh, my God. Yeah, that's just like that, man. I'll tell you right now. I was in heaven, man. Forget about it. It was crazy. Unnecessary. Oh, my gosh.
Fred, the outdoorsman, the sportsman, Fred Rodriguez, who does a show on TV about fishing and hunting and stuff.
Right.
After Hurricane Hannah, which would have been on the air for 48 hours or something, he's a good friend. He called and said, on your way home, whenever you finally go home, stop by my house. I've got something for you. Mm-hmm. And so I stopped by his house, and he came out with a big bag of stuff that he had made, barbecue that he had made. And it's from deer that he had shot, fish that he had caught, and he prepared it all.
Right.
And he said, I know you've been working for the last 4 days without a break. Take this home and eat it. It'll last you a while. Just enjoy it.
Right.
And that was some of the best food I've ever eaten in my life. And thanks to Fred, man, he is amazing. Just a terrific guy. But yeah, that was some good stuff. And that's not store-bought. That's,
out of the heart. Yeah, fresh. Yeah, I hear
good stuff. Man. Good stuff.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. No, I was going to tell you haven't said it yet.
Oh my goodness! I'm sorry, Louis.
He's quite upset.
I'm sorry, Louis. I'm sorry. One of our local fans that's followed the podcast from day one.
I blocked.
Good. You blocked him? Never mind. We don't have to say it. No, I'll just say it. Here you go, Louis. This for you. Amma! There you go, buddy. And I know you told me at work, make Tim say it. I'm not going to make him say it. No. I'm not going to do that to the guy. There you go. He said it. He said, you happy?
That's not quite the same, but
Yeah, oh my goodness, man.
That's funny.
We got quite a bit of little fan base that watches us from time in and time out, and
that's cool.
I know our little podcast has been moving. Like I said, like I'll tell you in the break, we've been blessed for the past year and a half to have guests coming through our door and letting us interview them, man. And one of our first ones to get interviewed was Pulp Culture, and I was following Pulp Culture after the interview, and we interviewed him again, and we saw he did a portrait of you.
He did. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. We saw it on social media. I didn't,
Right.
somebody came in at work and he holds their phone and say, "Hey, look at this. This is you." It's like, "Oh, that is me. That's really good." It's like, wow, that looks better than the real thing. I like that. He did a really nice job. So made it a point to look him up just to go see him and thank him for doing it.
Right.
And so we went to the Phoenix Gallery downtown McAllen where he was and spent couple of hours there on a Saturday afternoon and just looked at everything and showed us around the gallery, the other artists that were there, and we're about done. And he says, "I've got a gift for you."
Oh, there you go.
And I was like, "Well, thank you." What, I'm thinking I'm going to get a little, 4-pack of beer or something, which I was like,
We're
I can't
pushing
wait.
it, Tim. We're pushing
This
it.
is going to be great, And he walks in and he motions to the art. He says,
Right.
"Take it home with you."
Wow.
Like, oh my gosh. And the thing is huge. I mean, it's really big. It's a large piece of
Yeah,
art.
I've seen it.
He does not underdo anything.
No,
he doesn't. He
and
doesn't.
it's absolutely great. He just really did a nice job on it,
Right.
and it's huge. I was driving my little 2-seater car that has no trunk, and because it's a convertible, there's no place, so it's like I can't take it now. It'd be fun if I put the top down and stand it up in the back seat.
Who was that? I
That'd
think
be
that
fun.
was that Tim Smith.
That was really big.
Wow.
So,
Tim Smith really.
Yeah, carries it. Yeah, in the back seat, nice. So we waited and went back a couple of weeks later and got it in my wife's car and took it home. And then the question is, well, so what do I do with it? Where do I want to put it?
Your wife has it in the room right now, and she's all like, "Oh, yeah, that's my man right there." Yeah.
That was exactly her reaction. That's exactly what she said. How did you know?
I apologize.
I'm sorry.
For the
I'm sorry.
overreach.
How did you know? Were you there?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
exactly.
I know people.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing you keep to
What do we got there,
We
Chu?
got Rick Phoenix Manzo saying, "Hey,
Hey.
brothers, sup Tim? My dad, Chris Manzo,
Yes,
and I used to work there at Channel 5 with him."
of course. I remember Rick and I remember Chris as well. Chris was there when I first got there. He was in shipping and receiving and programming, and his office was full. Chris's office was full of the videotapes back in the days of videotapes.
Right? Yeah.
Even before that, it was films
Yeah.
of the syndicated programs we would get. Like late at night, we ran MASH. Back
my
in the day,
goodness. Yes.
and all at one point it was all film, but eventually it was all on videotape, and there was a whole wall of MASH. So if we ever wanted to go watch MASH, you just episode 426, pull it out, go pop it in the machine and watch it
There you
at
go.
the station. But that Chris's office was full of MASH and Three's Company and all these old shows that we had on video. It's just a whole row of MASH, whole row of Three, a whole row of this, whole row of that, and everybody always liked to go and just look at the shows and see what was in there.
Right.
And they always had the cool posters and stuff too. So yeah, it was Chris.
Just Three's Company alone, I would have just been like,
Yeah,
oh.
I would have been satisfied with that.
Oh wait,
Yeah.
this is where the Chrissy story ends.
I'm done.
I'm done. Yeah.
When I first moved down here, that show was big. We were showing it every night at 10:30, I think.
Yes. Yes.
Every night. And
After the news.
that's right.
After the news. Yeah.
Come and knock on our door. Remember that?
Yeah.
And when I first moved here, I moved in with Jenny, my friend from college, her roommate Julie, and her roommate Cheryl. So it was Force Company, and everybody knows me. One guy and 3 girls. What a life you live! I didn't have to pretend to be not interested because I wasn't. I was, you know what I mean. But and I was happily married 6 months later. But
There you go.
that's the story for another day.
Yeah.
But it was that's everybody joke. Oh, you guys are Three's Company, but just with 4. So, but then
Force a crowd.
exactly.
Force a crowd.
Somehow I had my own bedroom. They shared.
There you go. And that was the whole key.
That's terrible.
I know. It was just wrong, wasn't it?
I'd spin it the other way.
Yeah.
My own room would be pretty nice.
That was only 40 years ago. I remember part of it.
Yeah, there we go.
What else we got there, Chu?
Fred Barrera
Fred's
says, appreciate it, guys, and he recommends El Sancho Tex-Mex Barbecue in Mission.
There
Okay.
you go. El Sancho Tex-Mex barbecue
All right.
mission.
We have to go find it.
You're gonna drive out there. You're gonna go look for
There
it.
you go.
I'm not going to Mission.
I live in Edinburgh. It's not too far away.
There
So.
you go. There you go.
I can do that.
You can do that on your way home.
Not right now.
Again,
What you do. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Kurt Reynolds, Blade, you need a parrot to go with the iPad. You know what? You got yourself, Kurt.
And, you say that, buddy, that about the parrot. We were talking about that
Shut up.
right over here.
Shut up. Ask him questions.
Hey, you said you would
Ask
do
him
it.
questions.
Ask Tim questions.
You know what? Irene Velasquez says mom is watching. So
Oh,
I'm
God
yeah.
damn. Sorry, Mom.
I'm
Yeah.
ready.
Sorry, Mom. See, Mom? See, I told you to. Look, see? I'm famous, Mom. I'm famous. Oh, my gosh, man.
Jeez.
No, God. And tell you the truth, Tim, getting a hold of you was actually a luck of the draw. It was a luck of the draw because, I mean, Drew and I were sitting down here in the podcast. We were discussing we need to get somebody else in the podcast and see who we can hit up, take a shot at dark. We're going through our Facebook, and the newscast came out, and I saw you were talking the newscast. I'm like, this shoot for Tim Smith. He goes, really? He goes, yeah. It doesn't hurt. Let's give it a shot.
We've had that kind of look before. We'll just throw it out.
Yeah,
the worst you can say is
why
no.
not?
Yeah.
And
And then sure enough, Tim hits me up. He goes, I know maybe a little bit late, but I can't do it on this day. Let's schedule it for another day.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? Let's schedule it for season 3 in February. Give them time, and have them come out here. Little did I know it was going to be a cold front coming in today.
It's a cold day in the valley. Well, I'll do that.
put a bell on you got your brother Eric to text you. Right.
It was my brother who texted me. I'll pretend I'm Tim Smith. Yes, I'll go on your podcast. No, and it was cool, man, that he responded as he did, and then we continued to chit chat back and forth, and here he is, man, Tim Smith. I mean, and that's awesome. I'm glad you gave us the opportunity to get a chance to interview on our podcast.
Well,
I appreciate
it's
that.
my pleasure, top to bottom. It's my pleasure. I love doing this kind of stuff. This studio reminds me of a radio studio that I was in college. It really does.
Really?
It was about the same size,
There you go.
except instead of the walls being filled with the sound stuff, it was records, LPs,
Oh, okay.
all the way around.
Vinyls all the way around.
Vinyl all the way around,
There
and
you
you sat here.
Idea.
I did. You know what? That sounds like an idea.
Yeah.
Get a bank loan.
That's it. We're pulling a loan out.
There you go.
Put a loan out. $10,000 worth of vinyl.
Vinyl on the wall.
Just
I think
put
I
it
still have 3 or 4 of those records left. Well, I'm not supposed to have those. But they still say
Well, we
WQAX.
can edit that out, Tim. Don't worry.
No one will see that.
No, hear or see that, Tim. Don't worry.
That's WQAX.
He lives in Westlaco, Texas.
And that's another thing too. It's not just the difference that you've seen from radio to TV. It's also the way TV has changed.
Oh
too.
my gosh.
Yes.
Yeah, huge. I mean, it was, of course, we were standard definition, 3x4, and
Right.
TVs that are smaller than your computer screen,
Right.
black and white.
Right.
I don't go back to black and white. We were all color.
Mm-mm.
It was a big, when I moved down here, it was a big deal that the TV that I brought with me from Indiana was a color TV. Because back at that time, you were buying black and white.
Tim got
Yeah.
10
Wow.
Ooh.
TV, yeah.
Ooh, and it's a 32-inch.
No,
Ooh.
I was only 19. And it was in the back of my Chevy Chevette. But,
There you go.
But it was standard definition, and we were shooting our stories. I came right after film, so we're shooting stories on 3/4-inch videotape, a tape about this size. You can't see that very well on the podcast,
Right.
but the size of a good book, a big hardcover book. It was about the size of the tape. 3/4-inch wide was the width of the tape, and a 20-minute tape. You had to carry a box of 20-minute tapes with you everywhere. And you reuse those every day because they were expensive. It was about $20 a tape. And then you edited your stories onto the bigger tapes that were 60-minute tapes, and that's how you did it. Then eventually we went to beta, high-speed beta, which was state of the art at the time.
Exactly.
And then it was down to, I think it was DVC Pro was next. The tapes just get smaller and smaller and smaller. Now there's no tape anymore.
Exactly. It's basically all streamed now.
Yeah, and it used to be tape-to-tape editing, and now of course it's all done on the computer.
Right.
And with some really nice editing software, but I wouldn't know how to edit a story anymore. I used to know how to do it the old way, but not anymore.
Now consider the fact that, and not to tear down anything about television or anything or live TV. Now that TV's rarely, like myself, I rarely watch live TV anymore. I mean, it's always, and I'm going to shout out to many, they're not even our sponsors, Hulu, Netflix, Disney Plus, Amazon. We watch all those stream services now. And then to watch the news, it's 10 o'clock, 9:30, 10 o'clock, news is about to start,
It's 8:10.
now, not right now.
Oh,
but
yeah.
my phone goes off and I get it directly social media now. Has that been a lot easier for your weather reports now or for your team?
It's a lot more work now. We still do the newscast at the same time, but there's no more appointment viewing. People don't say, 10 o'clock, I got to watch the news.
Right.
They don't do that anymore.
Exactly.
They go to their device now. And so, in addition to doing, I do 3 newscasts a day, 5, 6, and 10, which is 2 hours of local news. I do myself,
Right.
weather-wise.
Right.
And we do an hour at noon. We do 2.5 hours in the morning. We do Spanish. We've got a whole Spanish team that's in
Mhm.
Spanish. So in addition to all of that, now we do all kinds of stuff for our app. We do live videos on the app. We put the forecast together that's on the app. That's what makes it good.
Right.
Is that we do it. The one that comes with your phone is like, hey, let's look and see what it says today.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
out of curiosity.
Yeah,
Let's look,
exactly,
see if it's
yeah.
caught up yet.
Yes.
Yesterday it was forecast. It still says, yeah, it's getting a little better. Now it says a high tomorrow of 64. Yesterday it said a high tomorrow of 84. So it's catching up. But our app, we put the numbers in. We do it ourselves. And
Right.
but that takes time.
Right.
We do
Right.
videos for Facebook, for Twitter, for the app, for TikTok sometimes.
Yeah. Instagram and all. Yeah.
We do all that.
Yeah, basically all the
And-
social media.
And
Yeah.
a lot of time spent doing that. Used to be come in, do a half-hour newscast to 5, half-hour newscast to 6, half-hour newscast to 10, and go
Right.
home.
Right.
But now it's just full all that time in between.
Right.
And so there's just so much more to do. It's
Mhm.
it used to be pretty laid back, and it's not anymore. It's pretty high, not high stress, but the workflow is significantly
It's
heavier than it used to be.
more intense, more like really nitpicking it now, trying to get it to the exact way you want it now.
Right, and it's
Well-
so many different platforms.
Right.
Because
Exactly.
we do stuff for and during severe weather, we're live on Facebook, we're posting on Twitter, we're live on TV,
Right.
we're everywhere at once, and everybody's going different directions, and in both English and Spanish on separate channels. So it takes a lot.
And plus, the audience that's watching is a lot more discriminating.
Yeah.
Well-
everyone is a professional weathercaster.
Well, yeah.
Okay,
It's
my jitterbug is telling me that.
My weather bug says that no, Tim, no, Tim, no.
Well, and that's the truth, and that's only bad when you get into severe weather.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons broadcast TV still exists is for severe weather. So if something goes bad, flip the TV on, and that's when people are watching. Is during
Exactly.
severe weather, and like during hurricane season,
Oh my.
our computer models go out 2 or 3 weeks,
Yeah.
or 4 weeks, or 5. And
Mhm.
there are people that look like legitimate Facebook pages, websites.
Mhm.
They'll put a computer model for 2 weeks out that shows a hurricane hitting Brownsville and say, "You better get ready, Brownsville. There's a hurricane coming."
Right.
Well, that model has as good a chance of verifying. It just has no chance. It's not going to verify.
Right.
But the 1 out of 100 times that it does, they're going to go, "We're the guys that told you." TV guys weren't talking about it because
Right.
99% of the time it doesn't verify.
Right.
And
right.
so you've really got to consider the source when you're looking at that kind of information. And that's really important because if your source is not dependable, reliable, somebody you trust, then don't use them. If it's
Right.
somebody, if it's
Right.
Exactly. The Weather Channel is only going to get it slightly right as opposed to someone who
Exactly.
actually
It lives in the area.
in the area.
right, they
Yeah.
do the same thing. On TV, and I love them. They're good friends. A lot of them. I'm going to see Cantori here in a couple of weeks. He's going to be down on the island in a couple of weeks. They're really good on the broad scale,
Yeah.
but when it comes to hyper local, they just don't do that. That's not what they do, and they're
No.
they're not trying to do that. That's not their job. Their
Right.
job is to So if you're watching a hurricane hit South Texas from Chicago, Weather Channel's fine.
Right.
But if you live in Bayview and the hurricane's coming, you need to watch local.
Right.
I don't care if it's me or whoever, but you
Right.
watch local
Local
because
news.
that's where you're going to get the right information. And don't rely on a website that's Fred's tropical weather page. Sorry, Fred. Do you have a tropical weather page?
Not Fred.
Uh,
Not that
Fred,
Fred. No, because there's a lot of those out there.
Not barbecue Fred.
No, because there's a lot of those out there.
Yeah.
And people believe them, and they say, "What do you think about this?" It's like, I don't think about it at all.
Right.
I don't waste my time
Exactly.
with it because it's probably
Exactly.
not right. So just trust your source.
Out of through the years you've been with KRGV, the most severe storm you've actually had to report, what would be your number out of all the ones you've had? One that's really like just hit you right on the money where you're like, you'll never forget that.
Well, there've been a bunch, of course.
Mhm.
On the bad side, I'll think through that. The big hailstorm in McAllen a few years ago
Yes.
just devastated the populated sections of North McAllen,
Mhm.
which had never happened before.
Exactly.
If you remember that was awful.
Yes, it was.
We've had some tornadoes, but we've not had any serious injuries from tornadoes. We're just
Mhm.
not in that area.
Right.
You see the devastation after a hurricane, like, Harvey by far is the most significant event for me because I was there.
Right.
It affected my family. So, I saw people walking through water chest deep, carrying everything they could carry
They
on
carry
top
on
of
over
it
the
to get
heads.
out. That had the most impact, but that wasn't in the valley. The event that had the most impact on me was the Christmas Eve snowstorm. it wasn't bad. It was
Oh
good.
my God, I'll never forget
2004 Christmas Eve, it
Yes.
started snowing, and we're like, it's happening. It's happening.
Yes.
And we predicted it.
Yeah.
We're saying it might just snow tomorrow, and we were predicting it a week out. It's like, I can't believe I'm saying
I
this.
have very, very fond memories of that night. I was actually in the back. They were cooking a Christmas ham already for that evening. I remember exactly. And I see we had carp on top of it because it was getting cold. And then suddenly it just falls down. Boom. And I just see white. Like, what the heck is this? And I grab it and like, is this snow? I go, no way. So I run to the front yard of my in-laws' house, the whole white all over the front yard. I'm like, holy moly, this is in Granjeno, Texas, south of Mission.
Yeah.
And I'm out there like, no way. And everybody's inside laughing, joking around. I go, guys, you gotta come outside. They weren't listening. Guys, you gotta come outside. And I told my sister-in-law, I go, come outside real quick. Come outside. You gotta come out here and check it out. What is it? I run out. I go make a snowball. She comes out. What? Wham! Hit her right in the chest.
Oh.
It's snowing! My God, it's snowing out! Everybody came out and played in the snow. It was something that I'll never forget, And then when it happened again, my son, I was hoping my son would see snow for the first time, and it happened again. I think
yes, just a few years ago.
Yeah, and he saw it for the first time. He was amazed. And now every time it gets cold, he goes, Dad, is it going to snow? I go, let's check with Tim.
That's a good answer.
Let's check with Tim.
Well, it was 105 years from 2004. It hadn't snowed since 1899.
Yes,
and then just a few years later, it snowed again. So we're really fortunate that we live in a time when we actually got to see it twice.
Yeah.
But that's the impact that it had on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
The story you share is just exactly the way it impacted everybody.
Yeah.
And what a cool thing to be working through that.
Yeah.
And I worked till midnight that night. The snow had started. And I worked. It's here. We're outside doing the weather out in the snow, and then Jonathan Owens was in after that. And I said, Jonathan, I'm going home. I'm going to go be with my family. Yeah. And so I got, of course, we're on the air saying, don't drive. It's dangerous. Don't go out. Yeah. Just stay home. And I can't go home, guys. See you. Get on the highway, drive down the road, and it took me an hour to get home because the roads were so slick.
Yes.
The expressway was closed.
Yes.
And I got home, and as soon as I got home, again, don't go anywhere. Stay home. Enjoy it with your family. I got home. Go, guys, you got to get in the car. Let's go for a ride. So we all jump in and said, "I'm from Indiana. I can drive one." It only been 30 years.
And that's the funny thing. Us being in the Rio Grande Valley, we're not used to that kind of weather.
No.
Not used to that kind of driving.
I had the correct response. I stayed inside.
Good for you. Good for you.
And I hid under the covers.
You get a blue star
until Jesus came to take me.
Whatever came first.
Yeah, whichever came first. This is a sign of the apocalypse.
Here it comes.
Oh yeah, here it comes.
Here it comes, Elizabeth. It's the big one.
It's over. Finally.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Yeah, it was one of those moments because it was actually nice. I was freaking out because I was expecting it to be windier and blustery. No, it was just falling gently.
Beautiful. It was beautiful. It was just quiet.
Yeah.
We drove once. I loaded the kids in the car. The kids were little. They were 10, 12, something like that. Mm-hmm. Loaded in the car and we drove to McAllen. We drove to the corner of 10th and Milana, North Cross Shopping Center there, and where the Barnes and Noble is. And we pulled in and nobody was around, but standing there on the corner, that corner is really nicely decorated, Christmas lights and stuff, covered with snow now. Wow. And Santa Claus is standing there singing Christmas carols.
There you go.
Man. We got to go see this guy. So we pulled in, we parked, and we got our cameras, which are terrible old digital cameras, so the pictures are awful.
Right.
Walked up and said hello to Santa Claus, and he says, "Hello, how are you guys?" He was so drunk he could barely stand.
He was loaded, man.
Yeah. And jingle bells. So we take pictures with Drunken Santa, which is the name of a beer, by the way. Drunken Santa.
I'm going to look for that one.
Where did they have that? It was really good. We're talking to Drunken Santa, and we're taking pictures with Drunken Santa. Within 10 minutes, I think everybody in town was on that corner. Because we're out there, more people see it, they're coming, and next thing you know, it's like a party. And I see the police are parked over in front of Barnes and Noble. They just pull in and stop. And they're not doing anything, And so I walk over and talk to him. I said, "Officer, how's it going tonight?" He goes, "It's going pretty good. You get a lot of calls?" He goes, "Well, we had one." I said, "Well, what was that one call?" I said, "Well, somebody complaining the neighbors were making all kinds of noise, yelling and screaming. So I drove by, and it was the kids having a snowball fight in the front yard.
Oh yeah.
So I
Of
knocked on the
course.
door and I told the guy, "Shut up and go to sleep. Let the kids have fun."
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Yes, the right answer.
Yes,
you
the
know,
right
good
answer.
work.
Yeah, man.
Don't be a curmudgeon. Let the kids have a good
Yeah,
time. So,
yeah.
No,
what a
no, be
pleasure.
a curmudgeon.
Keep those kids quiet.
Scrooge.
Keep those guys quiet.
Get them inside. Get them studying.
Jesus
Yes,
Christ.
yes.
You're that guy, aren't you? You're that guy, right?
Oh, I think we both know the answer.
We got one more question for Tim there? Anything on there for him?
We got 956 ABV saying cheers.
Oh, yeah, right. Cheers. Yes,
Cheers.
yes.
Romualdo Rodriguez saying shout out to Tim.
There you
Hello,
go.
hello.
There you go.
And Johnny Esco.
There you go.
Tell Tim he has to knock some back with a 956 ABV.
There you go. You're getting an invitation from
There
these
you
guys.
go. I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
So,
man.
I'm just gonna delete that.
I wanted that one. I need that number. Put it in here.
Great
Not
guys,
doing your
man.
work, guys.
Great guys, man. Great
That's
guys.
cool.
Great
they're
podcast.
super cool.
They're super cool guys,
So,
man.
do I have time to tell another quick story?
Go for it. Yeah.
This was, after almost 40 years on television. 30 at this point, it's probably 38 years on television,
Mhm.
and we were in the middle of coverage of Hurricane Hannah, and it was a big storm, of course.
Yes.
And we're covering it, and in the middle, that's when the geography rant came up. If you haven't heard about the geography rant, is when we go on the air and say, okay, this squall line is headed toward McAllen.
Mhm.
It's headed east to west. It's headed toward McAllen. And the first thing we get on Facebook is, what about Mission? And we say, well, it's headed from east to west toward McAllen. You're next. So, Mission's next.
Yeah.
And then somebody, what about Brownsville? And so we say, well, if it's going east to west McAllen, no, Brownsville, the other end of the valley. It's not going your way.
Right.
And so and every time we go on the air, those questions come up. What about the first one is always, what about Brownsville?
Yeah. You're confusing
usually-
Chew, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. which was the issue. That was exactly the issue. So I kind of went. It wasn't a rant. It was just I just kind of went off on how people, you need to know where you live on a map. You need to know. Look at your phone, look at a map of the whole valley, and figure out where you put the dot where you live. It'll do it for you. And then look at what's around you and know where
Siri,
you live.
where am I?
Yeah. So it was about a 2 or 3 minute little thing about how
Right.
when severe weather's coming, you need to know where you live.
Exactly.
If I say it's headed to, it's southbound headed toward Edinburgh, I don't want you to say, what about McAllen? I want you to go, crap, we're right after Edinburgh. It's coming to us, or I'm in Brownsville. It's not a threat to me. I want you to at least have some basic knowledge of where you are on that
Exactly.
map. So I went, it went on for 2 or 3 minutes. Well, somebody clipped that piece out
Right.
and shared it on social media, and it went viral.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, it went viral.
There you
And-
go.
Maybe not.
Yeah,
Man,
and
of course.
it went everywhere. It's like, oh yeah, you pissed him off. And it was, so after 30 years on TV, and I go out to eat every night in Westlaco stations here in Westlaco.
Right.
And I think I was in the Jason's Deli drive-through,
Mhm.
and I go there at least once a week, and I just go through the drive-through, and I'm at the window, and the girl comes out, she hands me my food, she goes, I know you. And I'm thinking, yeah, from TV. She goes, you're the geography guy. I saw your video. Yeah.
I'm on the news.
I've never seen you on television, but I saw that video. Oh my God, I can't believe it's you. It's like the geography guy. Forget everything else.
Mr. Diaz, if you're watching the show, I suggest a new tag for the banner. Tim Smith,
Jeez.
geography guy.
There you go,
Oh,
there you go.
geography guy.
So
man.
now I hear from teachers all the time, will you come to some geography at my school? It's like,
Right.
that's really important. It's great what you did, but people just it was funny. It was
Oh,
not
my
meant
gosh.
to do that, but it went viral and it's been a blast.
Oh
So,
my God. And I've seen so many memes, and I was
Oh,
talking
God.
to one of my buddies today. He goes, ask him if he has one of those Tim Smith candles. I go, what Tim Smith candles? And I go, there's a Tim Smith candle out there. And you go, you gotta look for it. Has a picture of Tim Smith with his arms open like this. It says, prayers to Tim Smith to tell us it's gonna be good weather tomorrow. So I'm like, wow, man, you're ahead of the curve than Prenda la Vela for the Cowboys, man. You're ahead of the curve already.
I have the candle on my phone. I don't have the real candle. It was after Hannah. A lot of those came out. There were so many. There were T-shirts. There were candles. There were all kinds. There was a beer, but it was just somebody put a label on a beer.
Right.
You keep watching though. Eventually, there may be a beer. My face, my image, my name. I don't own.
Mhm.
You know, it's
It's gonna
I'm
happen.
property of the TV station.
There you go. There you
And no one else can profit from that.
Right,
That's
exactly.
just the way the rules are.
go. Right.
You know, who would
Mhm.
want to profit from this? I have no idea. But you may remember a few years ago there was a band. They were called Tim's Myth. Tim's Myth.
Tim's Myth. That
And-
yeah, okay.
And you know, and they were kind enough to call the station and said, "Can we use that name?" And they said, "Well, what is it? The Tim's Myth." So, well, that's not Tim Smith. So yeah, you can use it. But they wanted to use the afro on the drum as their logo, and the station said, "No, that's an
No.
image. You can't have that."
Oh,
So you
jeez.
guys get it, you know.
Ah, man.
So we're working with some guys on a beer that won't have my name, my face, anything on it, but it's going to be my signature beer.
There you go.
So
I can't wait for that one. That
It'll
one. We got to look for that one coming up. That's something we got to find.
That and Drunk Santa
Yeah, true, yeah.
is on our
ABV boys, if you're listening, start looking for that beer, man.
ABV, come on, bro.
Drunken Santa. It was at Gabriella's on the island. That's
There
what
you
it
go.
was,
Oh,
Gabriella's.
okay, there you go.
On
There you
tap.
There we go. What are we still doing here?
Let's go. I don't
It's
care how
snowing
cold it
outside.
is. Let's just go. Let's just
With the
go.
windows, I need to look. I know it's getting cold. Is it that cold?
Guys, we have come up to an hour and 9 minutes, and I appreciate you guys on Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube Live for watching. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our podcast for today. And I know we'll be calling Tim again to come in here and have some good time. Hopefully, next time he comes in, he might have a little bit of a day off or something. So we got to figure out a day where we can schedule. We can actually sit down and have a couple of cold ones with
If
him.
you got a day off that you want to just like craft it up,
Yeah,
We'll make that work.
we're game.
All right.
And we'll bring Miguel from the craft to come on in
There you
so
go.
we can distribute
Miguel.
some nice craft beers so we can see what's going on.
I
man.
like it. I
Oh,
like it.
man.
you're a table service. I like it.
I know, right? Jeez, so
It's
awesome.
getting better by the minute.
Yeah. Tim's like, I got babe. I'm gonna be out for the next couple of weeks.
Jingle bells. Jingle, I love you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the podcast. Once again, Mr. Tim Smith on
Thank you.
the podcast. We appreciate you coming out, man. Thank you for giving us a chance to interview. It was fun, and I hope you enjoy your hors d'oeuvres.
I will,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And
Thank you.
we actually got you an official Chew a New podcast shirt
I love
for
it.
just you. With the guys that are on the market, you get out there, get one. Just follow our Facebook page, and you'll see the exact links way there are at. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes us for today. We appreciate you. Got anything else you need to add there, Chew, for Mr. Tim Smith?
I think that's it. And
That's-
I'm just scrolling, and there's nothing good, dude.
There's nothing,
That's good.
there's
More-
nothing
What do you want
good.
to share?
There's nothing.
More talk about me getting a parrot for some damn reason.
Oh my God! Well, that pretty
Johnny
much
Esco just commented on it.
on it. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Let's sign off here, man. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been the podcast. Tim Smith, thank you for coming once again. We appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, peace out. We will see you next week. TAO on the podcast. Latest Gators!
Bye, everybody.
Oh, what fun, guys. That was awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That was awesome. It was a fast hour.
yeah.
yeah, it goes by real quick.
Yeah.
Let's see. Right by there, it says, "I'll cook for you."
All right.
Yeah, on the next episode when you go on a show. Yeah, I don't remember.
Shut up, dude. Oh
That
my
was fun,
gosh.
guys. Thank you.
Guys, we're still on Facebook Live. Did you log us off already?
I pressed